Hey there, YouTube friends, family. It's Guy with Beard, Guns and Gear, and we're doing another rifle video. We had the sub 500. This one here is gonna be the sub 750. What would be my choice? And I'll tell you a little bit about why it would be a great choice if you're just getting into hunting, if you want something to target shoot a little bit about, a little multi-purpose kind of firearm. This is a fantastic one. This is the Savage Access XP. Okay, and I hesitate to call it a bargain rifle, although if you ask somebody, that's probably what they're going to call it. But Savage has really kind of upped their game as far as production and as far as bringing the cost down, but have not cheaped out on parts, accessories, and what is included with this rifle. So, how long has Savage been making firearms? Forever, right? It's Savage Stevens, and I think they've been putting the Stevens name on it if they kind of want to, say like, hey, we're cheap, then they throw the Stevens name on it. Savage is kind of their flagships as far as hunting rifles, and they've been around forever. My father hunted with a deer, an old Savage lever action forever and ever and ever. This particular one is chambered in 308, 22-inch barrel. Matte black finish on the barrel, so it's a good hunting finish. You don't get too much glare off the bluing. Synthetic stock, which I like, especially if you're taking these things out hunting. Less prone to the elements, less you have to worry about. So the synthetic stock is good, robust, it's light, and it will take some abuse before it actually shows it. Now, some of the special features about Savage, you can see that it's got kind of a section back here on the butt, and that is if you are a smaller statue hunter or shooter, then you can remove one of those sections and fasten the butt plate it takes off about an inch, so your length of pull is going to be a lot shorter. Okay, as you can see, this one does have the AccuTrigger. This is the Axis 2 Hunter XP, I think is what they're calling it now. Some people have been around Savage firearms for the longest time. They might remember it as something like a 110, but I think it's different than the 110. You can still find 110s out there, but you'll see the price is going to be a little bit different. And what rifles does this come in immediate competition with? I would probably put it against some of the Remington firearms. The 700, not so much. 700 is going to cost you a little bit more. 770, maybe. 783, definitely. That seems to be a popular hunting firearm. But I'll say this about the Remington 783 and about Remington in general. In my opinion, I think the build quality has gone down a little bit. I don't think it's the same company that it used to be 12 years ago. So that's why I would steer away from Remington. Again, my personal opinion. You might have some experience that might say different things to you. If you do, let me know in the comments. I haven't had great experience with Remington, so the old saying, once bitten, twice shy. So, things that are better about the Savage Access. The trigger, I would say, especially if you go with the Axis 2, the trigger, it's got that AccuTrigger, which is tunable. And it's a nice crisp trigger. There's not too much creep in it. You'll hit that wall pretty suddenly, and very predictable as far as length of pull. Magazine, it doesn't have a crappy hinge magazine. I never like those. It has a detachable magazine with those are snap caps in there. So with a 4-round capacity. Now, one thing I will say about the magazine is that there are some people who have said some issues because it's a mix of like polymer and metal. So the actual magazine composition, the main parts of it, the sides are metal, but where it fastens in is polymer, which may or may not pose some issues. You can see that kind of the spring there. And I've heard people complain about, and that's going to be really hard to get, but so on the back of the magazine there's this little bent clip. And that's the spring, basically. That's what retains it in place. I've seen some people have some issues with that, and all they did was take a flat screwdriver and put it underneath this part of it and bend it out a little bit. You do not want to put a screwdriver anywhere around this bent over metal part. I've seen people who have snapped that lip right off and then have had to go buy a new magazine at $50, $60. So that's not good. The action on it is very smooth. I mean, it was a little bit stiff at the very beginning, but now it's quite smooth. It just needs to be worn in, broken in. Okay, very easy to cycle another round, and no issues about that whatsoever. I don't think it's a solid piece bolt. I'd be surprised if it was a solid piece bolt at this price. The safety right up here on the tang, it's going to be hard to see because of the scope, but it's right there, very easy to reach, especially for novice shooters. It's kind of instinctual, you know, your thumb is going to be up there anyway, so very easy to find that safety, and you know, very clear marking for red. The scope, these come with a whole different mix of scopes. I've seen Vortexes on them. This particular one is a Bushnell, but most of the times you're going to see that it's a Bushnell banner 3x9, and sometimes they'll have the Bushnell Trophy. This one has the Bushnell Trophy, which is a far nicer scope in my opinion. This is a 4-12 magnification, and it has the focal plane adjustment for focus, which if you're looking for a scope, even if you're only shooting at 100 or 200 meters, that is a fantastic option to have, especially if you're like me and you wear reading glasses to kind of dial in that final focal point. Most of the scopes that you're going to see if you're getting that are going to be $400 or $500 scopes. If you want something with decent clear glass, the nice thing about Bushnell too is it's guaranteed forever. So 20 years from now, he starts to have issues with this scope and it starts fogging up. You take it, put it in a box, send it to Bushnell. They'll send you a brand new one if they can't repair the one they have. So I love a company that stands by its product, and Bushnell has forever and ever and ever. Again, fairly simple. Now, why a 308, you're probably saying? Why not a 270? Why not a 6.5 Creedmoor or PRC or whatever else in 6.5? Ballistics are probably better in the 6.5. At least it's a flatter round, and there's a lot of people that are converting over. I say a 308 is still a very capable cartridge. Okay, yes, it does lose a little bit of its velocity at 300 meters, but again, consider where you're shooting, where you're hunting. A 308 you can still get at most of your stores. There's another reason. Okay, with the ammo shortage, I don't want to call it that, it's availability issues for sure. 308 is one of the most common hunting cartridges, and you'll find it everywhere. I mean, you'll have your choices for sure, but anywhere from 125 to 160 grain, you can find. There are some really big loads out there for 308, so very capable as far as taking down a moose. My son bought this. This is his rifle actually, and he uses it for deer hunting. So a 308 has been around forever and ever and ever and ever. Your grandfather probably hunted with a 308. So 308 still a very capable round, and it's a great beginner. The recoil is manageable, and it's considerably less than a 270. Not price wise, but recoil wise. Now let's talk about price. What is the price for this setup right now? Most of your big box stores are advertising it for around the $700 range, $699 plus your applicable taxes. In the US, my American viewers out there, you're lucky enough to get it away with it for $459. So a sub $500 rifle for you guys, and a sub $750 for Canadians, and that's still a fantastic bargain, especially if you can find it with the trophy scope, the 4x12, with the focal point focus on it. Excellent bargain. Fantastic shooting rifle. We took it out 200 meters, and we'll put some of that video in there. 100 meters, and we were hitting 2-inch gongs repetitively. So, and that's without a rest or anything. That's just, you know, shooting kind of on a bench. So, a fantastic rifle. It would be my choice. $750. Again, we double checked. It is not a single piece bolt, but I wouldn't expect it to be. What used to be in this category was the Weatherby Vanguard, and that would have still been my choice, but those are going crazy prices now for the Mark V. So, if you're looking for a hunting rifle, this is definitely one to get. Sub 750, you can usually talk them into including a couple things. I think my son walked out of the store, he got a very nice bag, a sling, and a couple of boxes of ammunition. As well, there he got, like, false advertising, but he got a Tikka bag, which is a really nice bag, nice and padded, excellent transport bag. He got a sling, he got a couple of boxes of ammunition, and he was still at the $1,000. Oh, and as well, he picked some snack caps up. So, still at the sub 1,000, and you're not going to get very much for that anymore. So, I'm the guy with Beard, Guns, and Gear. And please click like, subscribe, and we've got some really good videos coming out in the near future. I've managed to hide some purchases from my wife. She's sitting on the couch right now. She's looking at me and she's like, no, you didn't hide them. I know all about them. So I'm kind of doing a project on a Kirkano coming up, a little restoration, and as well a 303. And my Glock should be coming back soon. I'm not going to tell you which Glock, but there's a Glock coming back from the gunsmith, which is going to look all kinds of sexy. So click like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Have a good night.